Because your product isn't launched yet. You're creating the technology. So you're not selling to consumers. You're not selling to healthcare providers. You're really selling to investors right now,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
then you have learned that the way to sell that investors, at least for you, is not primarily about a financial opportunity. The primary is this other appeal that you're making that's more about like values or connection.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. The way that I'm approaching this is that every consumer or every investor is a consumer and every consumer can be an investor.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you have to talk to them as sort of like a little bit of both. Like you have to take both, you have to have both hats on all the time. So like take you for instance, you're a consumer, right?
I have two kids at home. I have a 7-year-old and a 2.5-year-old.
Right, you're like right in the thick of it. It's going to
Yeah.
last you another 10 years, but you're right there. So the way that you see this is that could actually change my life. Like, why do I have to go to urgent care? Why do I have to pay for urgent care when, going to urgent care is so much more expensive than going to your pediatrician? All these whys
Yeah.
make you the perfect consumer, but also makes you the perfect investor. I'm not talking about the investor that's going to invest $1 million. I'm talking about the investor who's going to say, if I can put $500 of my money into this, there's a very high likelihood that I can bring this closer into my life.
What is the motivation the primary motivation you feel like you're giving for someone to make that first investment?
I had to look at the Kickstarter model.
Yeah.
And I remember one of the Kickstarters I saw a long, long time ago. It's a cooler where you can charge your phone. It had all these things. It was like the perfect cooler.
Yeah.
I, and I was like, why would anybody pre-buy this? But the way that they did it was they showed you that there is a way for you to have a better time at the beach with this cooler. And people resonated with that and like, we want this. I want this. I thought back about that and I'm like, the second we have our first test, you'll get a few. I was actually speaking to the consumer and making them investors at the same time. Because if you're willing to pre-buy a cooler, then why wouldn't you pre-buy a test
Yeah.
that you may be able to use in a year or two for very little money?
Yeah.
And at the same time, by the way, your upside is you may actually get a financial upside.
Was that pre-buying idea? Do you feel like that's the thing that moves the needle? That
I don't
ability to
know.
get the test? You don't know.
I actually don't know. So this is how I started. This was sort of like my messaging, right?
Yeah.
What
Yep.
would people get? But then the more that I see why people invest, like even the $100 or the $500 or the $1,000, I realize they're actually investing, not even thinking they're going to get one. Like they're like, oh, there's no comment about, oh, I'm so excited to get mine, or I can't wait to try this. Like there's nothing like that. What they say is that would really change my life. This would be a game changer. I want this to succeed, so I'm putting in $100. We need this. A school teacher took out $200 of her bank of her pay, which we all know school teachers don't make a ton of money.
No.
Money because like as a school teacher, we need this in our schools.
There's a difference between I need this, which is like, give me the first products. That's the
Yeah.
cooler to me, the Kickstarter cool. And we need this is something different. The teacher who gives, she's not even thinking of herself or her kids.
No.
She's thinking of what? Society, the world, her neighborhood? Like,
Well, no, she's thinking about, like all these kids are sick and they're missing school. Like, and
Yeah.
like when you think about a school teacher, and I think that all school teachers, and I hope somebody hears this, I think they're all angels. Like there's a place in heaven for all of them. The end, right?
Agreed.
They actually care so much about their students.
Yeah.
So much. If a student doesn't get to eat, they find them food. If they don't have a pencil, they find them a pencil. Having kids miss school for being ill is a big problem, especially in low income areas, because
Yeah.
who watches them? Like there's a domino effect that happens when a child is sick, in that they're sick, the parent who's low income has to stay home, has to find their way to a physician to get tested, right? Wait for the results or whatever it is. There's a financial like domino effect that happens. They're not getting paid. They're not going to work. They're not getting paid.
Yeah.
All that, the child suffers because there's stress in the house, there's tension, there's this anxiety that builds. The kid thinks it's his fault, right? Whereas, and the school teacher knows this. And they're like, well, how can we eliminate this, right? How can we make this easier? If it's not strep and it's just a sore throat, there's no reason for the kid to go home.
Yeah.
So I can understand a school teacher saying, I believe in this for the purpose of the students that I see every day.
Yeah. I want to suggest something and tell me if it resonates. It's more of a values-based argument. People are contributing to a we problem, something they see as a problem that is broad. The teacher you described seems like an ideal because he or she they see how widespread the problem is. Like they see this affects the school, this affects people. Like this is an us problem, not just a me problem.
Yeah.
But they also know the name of the kid who missed school that day. Like they also
Correct.
have a face for that problem.
Yeah.
It isn't just a theory to them. And I think there's something interesting about people who are in that situation that where their life or their job causes them to go, I see the larger social problem here. I see it's a very broad need, but I also feel for the individual who's
Yeah, especially when they know what the backstory of that kid is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so those are the people that, when I see a school teacher or somebody in academia and they invest, very small amounts, right? Because they don't have a ton to begin with, you know that they're investing for the greater good. Like they're investing for the us versus the me.
Yeah.
And I'm finding a lot of that versus, this is going to change my life.
Tell me why you personally are doing this. What drew you to this work?
I'm privileged,
Yeah.
which means that if I have to pay $350 and spend an entire day at home, I don't like it. It's not great, but I can handle it.
Yeah.
Right. The final nail in the coffin was when I went to visit my husband's factory. When he acquired that company, they were only men working for him. And then years later, I went to visit him and I see all these women and I'm like, how many women do you have here? And he's like, I don't know, 10 or whatever. And one of them was pregnant. And I caught this like gut-wrenching pain to say, and I realized if any of these women, like they work, like they work in a manufacturing line. If any of these women have a sick kid, they're not getting paid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it became this personal, like, mission to help these women. And then of course, you go to Starbucks and you see, and you see these people and you're like, if these people won't come to work, they're not getting paid. And then you go to Dunkin' Donuts and bring my daughter for a donut. And I go to Dunkin' Donuts and I see this woman and one is pregnant. I'm like, if they don't come into work, they're not getting paid. This is not privilege here. This is basic human need.
Yeah.
You should be able to take care of your child and know what your child has and treat them and take care of them and not lose your job for it.
Yeah.
And still put money on the table or food on the table. Like it's basic.
Yeah.
And it became like, I almost felt their pain to a point where I was like, I need to do this. I need to do this because nobody is doing it. And when I was approaching back then, actual investors, like real, VCs and, institutional investors and stuff. And they're like, yeah, it's a good idea, but I don't know that you would start with strep. I'm like, what? Strep is a huge problem.
Uh-huh.
Because if the barista at Starbucks or the person bagging your groceries at the supermarket doesn't come home for strep because of the fear of strep, because they can't go to school because they have a fear of strep, they're not getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
And so even no matter how much I could justify like the financial, the return, they were like, that's not very sexy. And so I was like, okay, let me go to the people who think this is their problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the consumers.
Yeah.
And turning consumers, I think that one of the things I'm most proud of is turning the regular consumer into an investor. To me, it's like so cool.
You went to the consumers because the traditional investors, it
They were
wasn't
like,
sexy enough for them.
yeah, it's not sexy.
And I want to see if I understood what you just said. The investors are looking for a financial return. You made the financial return, but it wasn't that sexy. But the argument
They were like, we don't think, like they also have a point of view, right? They were like, strep is like not a huge problem. It's an inconvenience, they called it.
yeah.
No, it's not. It's
What
not.
your
It's
story
not,
did for me.
it's impactful on me, and I'm privileged. Imagine the ones who are less privileged, and that is the majority. And here we are talking about healthcare for all, right? Everybody is advocating for healthcare for all, and
Yeah.
free healthcare and this and that, and yet we are still paying hundreds of dollars for every single visit. You walk into the ER, you're $1,000 short. You haven't
Yeah.
even looked at you. They registered you. You're $1,500 short, right? Who wants that?
Yeah.
And that is not equitable. I'm sorry. So how do we make equitable? How do we make things equitable? You give access to testing so that you can give control to the parent to get immediate care and immediate treatment when they need it. And you know what else, Benji? Is that in the 60-some million people who get tests that are performed every year, there's only a fraction of them that are positive. A fraction. So we're talking about billions of dollars going into the economy, not in our pockets, but going into the healthcare systems for something that is completely unnecessary.
I love this because you're not talking about a financial opportunity anymore. You're not even talking about a healthcare problem anymore. You're talking about a justice problem.
It's the one thing that keeps me up at night and gets me up every morning. Like, because being a founder in this space is not easy. Like, it's really hard.
Yeah.
And getting so many people closing their doors behind you, like in front of them, like they close your doors, they say no, you get the rejection. Like, it is non-stop. Non-stop.
Yeah.
And you need to have a reason to keep going. And my reason to keep going is seeing the faces of these moms at the factory or anywhere I go and realizing it needs to be fair for them.
That is, I'm just going to say it. That's fucking awesome. That's a great reason. Can I ask you one more question? How easy or hard has it been for you to translate that reason that you feel in your heart to your investors, to the people that you need to argue? Do they get it when you talk that way?
No.
Or do you lose them?
Even institutional investors? No.
Yeah.
No, I can't. I can't, for some reason, when I talk about what we're doing, they just don't see the return. They just don't see it. And to their defense, a lot of companies have attempted to like tap onto this at-home testing market. I think they did it all wrong.
Yeah.
Yet they still tried, and there was investment, right? And they lost. So like then you get this woman like coming out of nowhere. Like, let's be honest, I'm a nobody. I come out of left field.
Yeah.
Right? With zero biotech experience. I don't have an exit under my belt. I don't know anything about, molecular diagnostics or the healthcare system. I come from the event planning world, for crying out loud. Like, what the hell do I know?
Yeah.
Right? But and they look and they're like, wait, the people from Meta and Google couldn't do it, and you're going to do it? Mm-hmm. Like, I actually, to their defense, they're not wrong, right? Uh-huh. They're not wrong. So, like, I've had to work so hard to, like, create this to first of all, get highly educated, to make this my life's passion, and to talk intelligently about the gaps, and until people will listen. I'm Moroccan. I'm a fighter. Like, I have very warm blood, and I have a lot of passion, and I'm just going to keep going. Yeah. And I don't even know if this is going to succeed, right? I don't know. Just like everybody who has a startup has no guarantee of success. In fact,
that's right.
My co-founder, when we first met, And I had already invested a ton of my personal money in it to start. And he says, Nathalya, you know you can fail. He says, you know this can fail. And I said, I know, but we'll never know if we can succeed if we don't try.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I said, and I'm going to try my hardest.
What is the website people go to so I can share it if somebody wants to invest?
So if our website is anywhere.health,
Yeah.
www.anywhere.health.
And the investment link is there.
The WeFunder link is there, and if
Yep.
they're a larger investor, then they can contact me, and we can have we can do a pitch and a conversation, and open to talking to everyone, the $100 investor or the $1 million investor, and I'll
love
give
it.
them the exact same amount of time.
I love it. All right, let me stop it there.